Hello everyone, this is Crota coming at you, giving you game 1 in a set between Bo versus... Let me double check this. I believe it is Bo versus Heat. Heat spawning as the blue human player on the bottom left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Shin spawning as... Or Heat, excuse me. Or no, Bo spawn... Wow. I am just really all over the place. Bo over here on the top right as the red night elf, Heat as the blue human, and I'm just going to refer to them as human and night elf throughout the rest of this match. Now, I am looking for higher level replays, and my good friends at War 3 Arena have reached out to me, listened to the call, and I will be casting some of the games from the WarCraft in the upcoming weeks, so definitely look forward to that. Unfortunately, I cannot cast the games live as I am busy when those games are actually played live, so I'll be putting those channels up here on my YouTube as normal, and you guys get to watch them at the comfort of on-demand television on YouTube. Now, let's go ahead and figure out what's going to be going down here. There's the Ancient of War. We are going to be going into an Altar of Elders with a Warden first, and we should be popping on an Archer momentarily to try and creep out this 5-3-3 Renegade Wizard creep camp. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, we can see that it is a Mountain King first. Mountain King, a very, very strong hero as long as he has mana. Now, going up against a Night Elf player, it is rather dangerous to try and go Mountain King first because the Mountain King normally gets mana burned so much. But because it is going to be a Warden, I believe the Mountain King may actually be fairly effective at trying to snipe down archers and some other units. Now, this Wisp will be able to get away. Wisp, one of the few units out there, I believe the only worker that has a normal movement speed. Yeah, the move speed is average. While all the peasants do have a slower movement speed, acolytes and peasants and peons all have a slower movement speed. But then again, we are going to be taking a look at that Wisp. Oh, the militia may be able to get a kill off, and yes, it does, as the Mountain King now down over here waiting for the rest of the units. The militia may be losing 1 or 2 seconds only, as the Renegade Wizard gonna get focused down rather quickly. Renegade Wizard, obviously that easy target, higher damage, range damage, and medium armor, meaning it should get taken out very, very fast. Meanwhile, the Rogue and the remaining units getting surrounded by these militia there, as we now get to level 2 on that Mountain King and pick up another unit there. Meanwhile, you can see that the Ancient of War off over here was aggroed by these creep camps here, so a nice play by the human player to prevent a second Ancient of War creep. This is not looking good at all, as the Mountain King now going after another creep camp here. We can see that the Warden is off to the side. Are we going to see a bit of a steal? No steal there. I don't think we even saw the Shadow Strike. The Mountain King was trying to go for that unit. Instead, the Mountain King is actually going for the sure targets as opposed to trying to focus down the hero, as the hero could easily break free once it got to level 2. There is that Stormbolt now, and oh my goodness, I believe that Warden is going to be trapped and surrounded. There is Nightfall. And oh, Dust of Appearance, there's the reveal. A reveal off from down over here, nicely played. And that Warden being forced to use that Scroll of Town Portal and head back home. This Night Elf player is just absolutely getting schooled so far in the early stages. Mountain King, however, I believe will be playing it a little bit safer, trying to slowly build that lead over time. We may see him, not go after this creep camp as I suspected he would. Perhaps he is waiting for an Arcane Vault, setting up a Scout Tower instead. And this is something that is also curious to note. Because of the farms being built here and off over here, he does have a little bit more map presence and map information, but he has no real way of protecting the inside here. Meanwhile, the Mountain King still wandering around, now heading off to the north, looking for where that Warden is, and that Warden now just at level 2, gonna be heading back out. What's that Mountain King gonna do? The Mountain King, I guess, did not get sight of that Warden from this one farm off over here, as we're looking at another central scout farm being placed down. The Warden, however, is not going to have a very easy time trying to get inside and around this base. That arcane tower is nearly done, as we are now setting up an expansion and heading over to the 6 o'clock location. All right, there is an archer. That archer is going to get bolted again. It looks like it is going to try and shadow meld. Not going to be able to make it though, as that Mountain King has taken out a number of units. All right, are we going to perhaps see that Wisp get taken down? No, we are not. Warden going to go in and get a shadow strike on a low hit point footman, and I believe that footman will end up falling. That footman now trying to run all the way to the back over here. It is most likely just going to die due to that time life. Yes, I believe so. Yes, it is going to end up getting taken down, but not before the Warden may actually, get blinked out there. Nicely played, as a number of other units are very, very low. All right, there is another surround there. Is Blink still on cooldown? Oh, a bash added into for good measure. There's the Dust of Appearance, as the Warden gets surrounded and taken out. Mountain King now at level 3 gets in a good bash onto that Rock Golem. You have to be very careful with these Huntresses. The Mountain King does have a good amount of mana left, and it could get a Stormbolt off onto one of those units, and yes, it does. Another Huntress should end up getting taken down there. 5-second stun, and that Mountain King at level 3 is just causing problems for that Warden. All right, this might just be a classic human beatdown, setting up an expansion, and then if it's worth overdoing, building up an economic advantage and winning in the 3 areas that you need to in Warcraft 3. If you have experience advantage with your heroes, if you have the economic advantage, and you also have the army and tech advantage, there is not much that really can be done. The fifth and final element, army is one, tech is another. The fifth and final element is micro, and sometimes micro can overcome all of those things, but we haven't really seen really strong decision making coming in from this Night Elf. Huntresses pulling those units back. Warden may actually get to level 3 though. She is relatively close here, and if she gets to level 3, and she gets to perhaps a level 6 Warden, Avatar of Vengeance can be a very big problem. All right, a big steal and a tome steal there by the Mountain King. Wand of mana stealing. The Warden now losing even more mana. The Mountain King should be able to get off another Stormbolt there. There you go. There's another Dust of Appearance, as unit after unit is pretty much falling there. All right, low hit point footman. Now it looks like a little bit of poor decision making by the human player instead, as the Warden may be able to just come in there and get in another Shadow Strike. All right, there is a Shadow Strike once more. There is one, a mana stealing. Are we going to see those units ending up falling? That is the big question, as the Mountain King almost gets surrounded. Has to be very careful. Double charges of one, a mana stealing may actually been too much. You can see that one footman down to 63, 33 hit points. Needed one more hit to get taken out, or two more ticks essentially, as the footman and the Mountain King still giving a bit of chase. Mountain King low on mana. Warden still has a little bit left, should be able to get off a Shadow Strike, but there's no low hit point units for it to really take down. Mountain King at level 3 should pick up some clarity potions, should be able to heal back up, saving 2 really low hit point footmen and healing up some of those peasants in addition. Meanwhile, this is one of those things that I don't understand. Why wasn't the Ancient of Wonders placed right here? It's one of those things where if you can place the Ancient of Wonders right next to that farm, the Ancient of Wonders will take it out for you, and you really don't have to invest any time and energy. Meanwhile, Goblin Zeppelin now taking to the skies. Goblin Zeppelin now in the air, perhaps heading over to the top right. Let's take a look at what this Warden is going to be doing next, as the Zeppelin is going to try and drop in from the north and take down all of these poor Wisps back over here. However, the Huntresses look like they're already in a good spot. If they can actually get in a good spot here, take down perhaps a number of units, that may be too much, as the Warden taking some feedback damage from that arcane tower. All right, Altar of Kings taking a bit of damage. Meanwhile, one lone Zeppelin making its way across here, as the Warden is wondering where exactly that Mountain King is. All right, let's take a look. Yes, another peasant does get taken down, and here we are. We can see that there are glaive throwers being dropped into place. All right, Staff of Teleportation coming through, and there is that Warden. Warden blinking all the way to the back, should really time the blink better in order to dodge, as you're seeing the Goblin Zeppelin picking up and dropping off units. Meanwhile, Wisp are actually just getting into a whole bunch of trouble all across the map. We see glaives now being added, as there is a quick Shadow Strike trying to focus down some of those units. Huntress is now coming back as well. You can see the Zeppelin, I believe one footman, he should die. Yes, he does die because of that time life. Warden now picking up that clarity potion, charging back up. And let's take a look. Another glaive is being added. Another glaive is being added here as we are getting up a blacksmith, perhaps for mortar teams. And a new altar of kings has been built, even though the old one is still operational. Now, you can see that the human player is sitting at 39 over 54 supply compared to 36 over 40. And all the things said and done, the Night Elf player isn't that far behind in terms of his army size. Yes, he is behind economically speaking, but he has been trading surprisingly efficiently, even though it wouldn't normally look like that is the case. Now you can see that the Zeppelin is trying to make its way off to the north. You see another glaive. Is it going to get picked off? It might get picked off. No, not going to get picked off. Instead, there is that Mountain King. There is a Stormbolt, and here is a big fight down in here. All right, there's a potion of healing. As we can see, units just falling across all over the place. This Zeppelin needs to get picked up. That Zeppelin, or sorry, that glaive needs to get picked up. Level 4 now on the Mountain King. Not quite sure what is going on here. There should be some more Zeppelin micro coming in, definitely, as this one Zeppelin will get picked up. All right, so Zeppelin's getting picked up. Huntress is now making their way over. Shadow Strike. Are we going to see damage onto that footman? It looks like that footman will get taken down. There it goes. Bolt onto the Warden again. And that is perhaps one of the most annoying things to try and stop. A Warden that is constantly, or a Mountain King that's constantly dropping storm bolts out of the skies. And then jumping in before you can even try and attack it. All right, you can see that the Mountain King was trying to get a Stormbolt off right there. Let's take a look at this. Picking up, there is a Shadow Strike now onto the Mountain King, and both units are just doing some crazy Zeppelin micro in order to try and maximize their damage. All right, glaives are throwing, or glaives are getting thrown all the way across here. Let's take a look. Another glaive thrower being added. Another, 2 more now being trained. So we are going to have a total of 5 glaive throwers here in just a moment. Massive repairs going on. And the Warden, if this was at nightfall, which it is now going to be, is going to have a much easier time. All right, here is the attack. There is the engagement. Oh, Warden now in a little bit of trouble. Is it going to get picked up? Down to 17 hit points. Blinks. And I'm not quite sure what happened. All right, no, blinked and somehow ended up in the Goblin Zeppelin there. That Warden really needs to be careful. Needs to head all the way back over. You can see a little bit of damage being dealt back over there. There are 5 glaive throwers now coming through, and there is also even a Wisp trying to repair here. All right, we are going to see the attack now coming in, and so much damage. The Goblin Zeppelins picking up units, dropping them off. So many footmen are falling, and you can see even the bashing Mountain King trying to finish off some of these glaive throwers as well. Glaive thrower after glaive thrower is falling. I can't even tell which unit is low and which unit is high here, as the Mountain King is just trying to focus down units but unable to do so. As you can see, now that the Warden is going to be coming back with a potion of healing, there's a Shadow Strike on the Mountain King. Mountain King's actually going to be in a little bit of trouble. Will it be able to get away and being forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal instead? All right, massive repairs once more underway. Let's take a look at this. The guard tower now coming in. The Zeppelin now being forced all the way back here. There is still 4 glaive throwers with another glaive thrower on the way, and this is looking like a rather strange game. This additional base is not helping out all that much, even though the supplies are relatively close. Oh, Mountain King is right there. Shadow Strike. And did it hit the target? No, it did not. A beautiful pickup just in time. That Huntress really needs to try and get inside the Zeppelin. Is it going to be able to get inside there? Yes, it does. Footman now going to get focused down here as level 4 now on that Warden. Warden still with plenty of mana. This Huntress should really just consider heading all the way back home, not giving any additional experience, as the Mountain King now gets a Stormbolt off onto that Warden. This is turning into just a Zeppelin wars. Whoever can get their Shadow Strike or other units down. But no, a quick transition into Dragonhawk Riders, and that, I believe, is going to be it. A quick tech change right there. I was wondering how the gold was being spent by the human. And 3 Dragonhawk Riders quickly going to change things around. As you can see, the Zeppelin off over here going to end up falling out of the sky here in just a second. Oh, you do not want it to fall over any sort of trees at all, as you're looking at more units now making their way off to the north. All right, are we going to perhaps get some archers? Yes, there are some archers now being trained. We need to see some perhaps repair going down on all of these glaive throwers. Archers being added dramatically to the army. Let's take a look. 48 compared to 49, but there are also a lot more peasants in the army or the supply of the human player. But the tech advantage could be just enough. Dragonhawk Riders, we are only at keep though. We are not going to be going into animal war training, so those Dragonhawk Riders should be relatively easy to take down. Archers should be able to get off a number of easy shots there, as well as we see a quick blink shadow strike. Back over here, you see a lot of Wisp trying to repair, and this is just rather strange. The Dragonhawk Riders are trying to figure out where exactly all the targets are. Here are a whole bunch of Wisp gold mines, still plenty of gold left in them, about 6 minutes left, as the Wisp are just doing massive repairs here. All right, so the glaives just gonna try and destroy. Meanwhile, a fight back over here, no shadow strike possible. The unit was picked up just in time. The warden did not end up spending that mana, I don't believe, as the Dragonhawk Riders come in and now take down one of those units. All right, shadow strike is here. Archers are now trying to come in. No Zeppelin to pick up the units, as you can see the Dragonhawk Riders just having a field day with these glaive throwers. Glaive throwers getting destroyed in a matter of seconds. The Dragonhawk Riders now with 1-0 upgrades, able to pull back, and whatever advantage the Night Elf player had is now gone. Only 2 or 1 glaive left, and that is going to be it. All right, let's take a look at this. Goblin Shredder returning gold or lumber. Peasants on the gold mine working hard, as we should be seeing these units perhaps trying to make their way in. Archer quickly getting focused down there. We are going to see one Dragonhawk Rider finally fall, but it's still not going to be enough. Without an Orb of Venom, things are just not going all that well. Goblin Shredder even being added in order to add a little bit of extra damage. A tanking unit on the ground. Mountain King with a potion of invulnerability. We can see massive repairs coming in from the Wisp, but it's not going to matter very much at all. A beautiful tech change catching the Night Elf player completely off guard, and that is going to be it, especially with no Orb of Venom. Game 2 will be on Ancient Isle. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1.